So
you
we
see,
have reality as
excellent,
the data,
excellent.
And
Okay.
we're looking at the claims that the Qur'an makes.
Now
and
I
we're
ask,
seeing if it's reliable to the reality.
right
And it's
now
not.
I asked you. You see, here you go again.
Yeah.
You are making claims, yet when we are looking at the evidence, it's not entirely saying what you are saying. Now you have.
Talking about. Like,
You can't be that confused already. 1 second. You see?
yeah, I am.
Okay, no problem. Then I'll reverse it. You see, Chris? You see, Chris? Again, I will tell you.
yeah,
The best inference, if you look at the whole of the universe,
yeah.
is that there is a creator.
No.
Tell me what inference you draw from it.
Well, you can't. You're basically just throwing up a claims just like that.
I just did that.
Yeah. Why did you?
What is an inference?
Inference is like some sort of
Do you want to check
how do
it?
you call it? How do you
Define
call
it.
Let's just define it. Yeah.
What does it say?
Hold up. Load.
What does it say?
A conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. Cool.
No, don't block it. Let's have a look.
A conclusion reached a basis
What
of
is all this?
evidence and reasoning.
What is all this? The
Deduction,
adjectives.
conclusion, yeah, adjectives.
Go on, read them.
Synonyms. Deductive, conclusion, reasoning, conjecture, speculation, summations, thesis, theorizing, hypothesis.
Right, it says here conjecture.
Yeah, conjecture, yeah.
Do you agree?
Well, let's go to conjecture. Let's see what does conjecture mean. These are not the... An opinion or a conclusion formed the basis of incomplete information.
Excellent. Now tell me,
Yeah,
the majority of the scientists
Yeah.
have got this principle in which they say all scientific truth is subject to change based on new information being available.
yes.
Is that conjecture based on inference based on fact?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
So when you said between certainty and speculation you choose certainty, why are you following the scientific method?
Because you gave me those two options.
You should have said you had a third, but you didn't.
No. I asked you questions. Are they based on evidence?
Okay, on that basis, I'm asking you, why did you go for the certain one?
Because if based on the evidence, it's certain. If certainty is part of consistency, then obviously I'll go with that. For example, the laws of gravity, right? Do you know the laws of gravity? The gravitational theory? Is it a fact? Is it deterministic? Is it absolute truth?
No,
Why is it not?
I'll tell you. You see, when you use the word absolute,
No, the absolute doesn't actually exist. Yeah.
well, that's a different thing. You tell me what you mean. Exactly. Be specific.
You told me deterministic, right? Did you say
No. No, you said that.
What's the two options you gave me?
I didn't.
What was the two options?
Certain and
Okay.
speculative.
Is the law of gravity certain or speculative?
According to the way we understand it, it is certain.
Thank you. And why is that?
Test an apple according to the theory itself.
Exactly.
Okay,
So you
now,
got data there.
now wait,
Exactly.
wait.
You got data to support that
Absolutely.
certainty.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm asking you according to the scientific method.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is reliant on inference.
Yeah.
And I said, we looked at the word inference, then we looked at the word conjecture. The word conjecture, we then looked at what it meant. And on that basis, I asked you.
No, those are words linked to that. That's what it said.
I agree.
Yes.
But they are linked for a reason, aren't they?
Yes. 'Cause
What is the
basically-
reason?
The reason is to find a solid conclusion, basically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So science, is it definitive?
No, it's not.
It's not certain.
No, it's not certain. Because things can change.
So in the two, certain and speculative, which one is it in?
Like I keep telling you, you need
No,
to
I'm
provide
asking a
more
simple
information.
question. Excellent. Yeah. The information that you are requiring,
Yeah.
as I said, is based on your understanding of the scientific method. So maybe for a few minutes you need to tell me,
the best method.
if I can, for a few minutes you need to tell me what your definition of the scientific method is.
We can just search it out and I'll give you that.
No, I want to ask you. Because I'll tell you why. Because you are making the point of what.
Okay,
If I can just
method is to test, to observe, to analyze, to use evidence,
to falsify.
to falsify also, and there's many things, man. It's just so broad.
Right.
But you're using all these tools
Yes.
to reach a solid conclusion.
I know. You see, this is the difference. I agree with you.
Exactly.
They are all tools, but not to reach a solid conclusion. To reach the best inference conclusion.
Whatever.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree
Now,
with that.
you see, I'm asking again.
Yeah.
Yes. you threw up something and then you retracted
What did I
because
throw up?
if I can just, you threw up something and then when I pushed forward, you retracted.
What was
If
it
I can
that
just
I threw?
finish.
Yeah.
You said 80% and you said statistical analysis. And I asked you on that and you said, well, it's too long drawn out and then took back. So now,
things there. You told me.
I'm not the one confused here, sir, respectfully.
You're confusing me because you're using
No, I'm not.
statistics.
I would never do that.
Okay,
I would
let's
never,
keep it
Chris.
simple,
I
yeah?
would never confuse.
You told me how much did I read the Qur'an, and I said about 80%. Yeah, and I went through all that journey a long time ago, and I'm not gonna go back there again.
How long ago?
Like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, now you see, when you make a statement like, I'm not going to go back there again,
Yeah.
it actually suggests to me you are not entirely sure what you are saying.
I am sure what I'm saying.
Okay, if you are sure, statistical analysis you applied to the Quran, you said. I said to you, when you read your books
Yeah.
in your studies,
Yeah.
you said you applied them. I said, did you study and apply the Quran?
Yes.
I made it very clear.
Yes.
You said yes. Now I'm thinking 80% he has studied and applied.
Yeah.
And the only thing he can come up with is mountains as pegs and embryology. Is that studying and
Didn't I tell
applying?
you I did this a couple of years ago? Didn't I tell
All
you?
right, so you are saying now that you are forgetful.
Well, yeah. but
Okay,
know
I
the
agree.
conclusion
I don't
had,
mind.
yeah?
No problem at all.
Yeah.
But I want you to reconsider your decisions and conclusions.
what new
I
thing
will.
you're gonna bring
I
to
will.
me?
I will tell you.
Yeah.
I will tell you. You see, I love it when somebody puts a challenge. Yes, and I'm asking you.
Okay, give me something new that I've never read before.
I will tell you
That I
something.
can analyze.
I will tell you. Yes, it's not what you haven't read before.
what is it?
I will tell you to take up my challenge, which I know you are going to be reluctant to do so.
Yeah.
Study the Quran from start page to end page, not 80% and 60% and 70. I'll respectfully I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because it will give you answers which you thought.
It didn't.
If I can just finish, which you thought. Are you okay? Okay. Which you thought. No,
you're talking as if like I didn't do it.
No, I didn't say that. I am saying.
So why are you telling me to go back?
Well, I'll tell you why, Chris.
Unless you got something new to add.
I am telling
then
you,
tell me the new
there is,
thing.
there are,
They're going
I'll
to
tell
go
you
back
what,
to something that's
based on
rubbish.
statistical analysis,
Yeah.
5 years ago,
Yeah.
yes,
So what, the Quran changed
one second, 5 years ago to today, we are in receipt of more information than we were
about
5
the
years,
Quran?
if I can just finish, than we were 5 years ago.
about the Quran?
Not only the Quran,
Okay,
every
tell me,
other,
tell me.
one second, everything else.
I'm not
Now,
bothered about anything else.
now,
Tell me about the Quran.
Chris,
You're telling me to go
I'm-
to the Quran.
I'm telling
Stick
you-
to the subject, yeah?
that's
Go to
all
the
I've
Quran.
tried to do.
Exactly.
20%
Okay.
you have not studied.
And what is that 20%?
I want to, I'll tell you, I want you to study the 20% because
That
that
20%
if I can,
is about
if I
80%.
can, if I can just finish. That 20%
Yeah.
that you have not read
Yeah.
will convince you about the 80%.
It won't.
Will you do it?
No, I won't. Because the 80%
Are you afraid?
is substantial. Why
Are
am
you
I
afraid?
for?
Exactly.
It's-
If you are not afraid, why don't you take up the
Okay,
challenge?
give me the 20% that I'm missing.
Yeah, now
I don't
here-
like repeating myself in a sense. I'm going
Chris,
to read the same thing over and
respectfully,
over.
honestly speaking,
Yeah.
all you are telling me is words.
So?
20%, 80% statistical. If I can just finish, statistical
conveying the message.
analysis.
I'm conveying what I
No,
know.
you are conveying on the spot the message.
Doesn't
You know,
matter.
I call it soundbite Islam.
Don't
Okay.
care.
Now, I will tell you something, Chris.
What is that going to change?
The challenge is there. Can I give you a present?
What present is that?
Quran, please. The brown one, brother.
They're at home.
I'm giving you a present.
I don't want it. I already got it.
It creates brotherly love.
No, I don't want it, man. I already
Brotherly
got it.
love.
I already got it.
Now, look, I'm going to tell you something, Chris. I'm challenging you on this.
How would you challenge
And
me
then,
on something I already
Chris,
read?
are you afraid? No, you're not. You told me
I don't
exactly.
need to do
So
the
I
same
want you
thing
to
again.
take. You won't need to overdo it again.
would.
In 5 years, as you have already told me kindly, you have forgotten most of it. So I'm now repeating and reminding you.
Because there's many
Chris,
books in my house that I've forgotten most of.
you have, haven't you?
Pretty much,
Then you
yeah.
need to go back, revisit.
have to.
It's called. You know, there was a drama program, Brideshead Revisited.
I'm moving forward. I'm not
Yeah,
going
this one is
backwards, mate.
Quran Revisited.
I'm not going backwards, mate. I'm going forward.
Chris, you are afraid
Afraid of what? What would I be
of
afraid
taking
of?
up the challenge.
A book. I got a book at home. There's
Of taking up the challenge.
What challenge?
The one I'm giving to you.
What
The 20% that you allegedly have not studied, which you will study, will convince you of the other 80%.
20% ain't gonna convince me enough for jack
Take my
shit.
present.
It ain't gonna convince me.
Your emotive words are not going to have an effect. The challenge still
You
stands.
claimed, yeah, that the creator
I didn't
exists.
claim nothing.
Yes, you did.
I
Did you
said
say
to
the
you.
creator exists?
No.
By inference. Did you say that?
No.
By
Now you
inference,
see,
you believe
Chris,
the creator exists.
you are trying to divert here. I'm asking a simple question. Will you accept the challenge?
I will not accept the challenge
Why?
because I don't need to. I've been through that.
Thank you. Oh no, but that's still a present. That's still a present. Don't be afraid. It's only a book. It's merely a book.
I've got the Bible.
It's merely a book.
I've got the Buddha. I've got the
I tell you what. I'll make a deal with you.
Yeah.
I'll even transmit it to you electronically.
I don't need that. I don't need to.
What are you afraid of, Chris?
Why would I be afraid of
I'll tell you. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because we don't know when we are going to die.
So?
Yes. Now, I am telling you confidently that as a human being who logically has established a particular pattern of study is now terrified to do the same to the Quran.
Doesn't make any sense.
Of course it doesn't, because you know, if it makes sense to you, you take up the challenge, but you won't, Chris.
What you really think is...
Why are you finding it so difficult to listen to what I'm saying? I already did it. Why would you want me to do it again? For what reason?
I'll tell you why, Chris.
Okay, tell me
because
why.
I know...
Then show it then.
I know.
You know, show the evidence that you have right now. That you
I know that when
that 20% will override the 80%.
Chris,
you show me what that 20% is.
Chris, you see, I turned around respectfully, and I'll be a bit blunt here.
Be blunt.
When I asked you about the 80%, you couldn't conjure up anything.
Fair enough.
One second. And you quickly latched onto when he talked mountains. Now that automatically told me, Chris, don't do this.
Were you expecting me to be an encyclopedia or something?
No, I expect you.
Exactly.
I expect you to at least be able to back up what you say if you say it. Now, respectfully, Chris.
Expecting me to know all the information I read a couple of years ago.
No, I asked just a few. But I tell you what we do, Chris.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I do apologize if I've come across as untoward, but that was not the intention.
I don't really care about that.
I know.
Is in your words.
Exactly.
That's what I care about.
But all I care about is the fact that you being an intelligent person who subscribes to the scientific method is terrified to take up the study of the Quran.
That's your opinion. That's what you
think. Of course, it's my opinion, and you aren't proving it wrong by saying, Shabir, I'll take up your challenge.
No, why?
No problem. No problem, Chris. You don't know me. It's all right. I don't know you either.
You must have said yourself, oh, big lad.
Chris.
It was full of nonsense.
It's sad boring. I want to put it down.
Are you going to feel comfortable with each other?
The Bible. It was the same thing I was reading from the Bible.
Chris.
It was rehashed.
Okay.
It was a rehash.
I'll message you.
I will definitely in the next few days. I will sit down with her, inshallah. Don't worry about it, inshallah. Yeah. Then I'll find out. Yeah. Look after yourself, Muslim. Yeah.
As the Bible, the same
Chris,
nonsense.
God bless.
It's like,
Chris, the fact that you are saying is the same nonsense as the Bible shows your ignorance even more.
How? When I got the book at home. How?
You just told me you've got many books, but you've forgotten.
Yeah, but even I can tell
you,
I can at least remember what I've read in a way, in a sense, yeah.
In a sense, right. Well, to me, what I say is this. If it is, Chris, if it is the evidence, if you can't, don't.
So why are you expecting people to be encyclopedias?
I wouldn't say that. I never asked you to be an encyclopedia, because I'm only talking about one book. Forget an encyclopedia, but it's okay.
But you here claiming that somehow there's a creator that you somehow have evidence for. You don't want to produce. If you're giving me books, you have thousands of books in history.
What's the evidence?
Chris,
there is no evidence.
Look, can you see? I mean, you respectfully, Chris, since you have mentioned,
bring some data here, man.
Since you have brought it up, I will tell you something. Yes, and I did ask, okay, about the subatomic particles, and we said, well, we have got measuring tools which we can measure. But I asked, can we see them?
No, you can't.
Now, according to my understanding and the atheist misunderstanding, is that if I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Seeing is not just using
your eyes. Well, I'm talking about atheists, I agree.
Seeing is not just your eyes, yeah?
We use extrasensory perception.
Exactly. We can use
extrasensory perception. You're talking miracles. Carry on.
Look, how do we know the moon exists?
Right.
We feel it. We see its effects.
Chris,
that's how you see it.
Chris,
indirectly.
Chris, you know, I can agree with you.
So
I'm not. It's not difficult. It's that I'm talking.
You can't see it somehow.
I'm talking about the atheistic mindset, which is confused.
No,
okay?
You are confused on what that is.
Okay, let's see.
You are confused.
No problem.
You're not in the laboratory doing these stuff.
And how do you know that?
Huh?
How do you know that?
What's a telescope?
Because you should know this. You shouldn't be coming to your mouth.
Well, I'm talking about the atheistic mindset. Is it in the lab?
What do you mean atheist mindset?
Exactly. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. It's okay, Chris.
It isn't set. It's a continuum.
My friends, God bless you.
It's not set.
You're
Sorry, Chris.
It's not about
Atheistic mindset, I said. It's not in the lab. I know that.
It's not a mindset.
It is. I'll tell you what.
Why are
merely.
you making things so difficult for yourself? Like, it's simple. Yeah.
You can't get it any more difficult than being an atheist.
Okay. Look, for example.
And confused as well.
Yeah? There's something called dark matter and dark energy. How do we know it exists, even though we can't see it? But we can see its effects indirectly, right?
You see, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
We can see its effects indirectly. In other words, by inference.
No.
No?
Yeah, well, pretty much by inference.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why?
Now it means no. One second. You see, when you talk about data, yes, I will ask you this. You are told on the one hand, an all-powerful, all-compassionate, all-merciful Creator. Yes. Now, tell me, logically speaking, yes, if you have a superior intelligence and an inferior intelligence, according to your scientific standard, yes. Do you think it is logical for the inferior intelligence to establish what the superior intelligence, let me finish, what the superior intelligence is, or logically speaking, the superior intelligence communicates to the inferior intelligence, confirming the superiority of the superior intelligence? Which one is logical?
You need to know what intelligence, you need to have a standard model of what intelligence is to measure that. Do you understand?
Agreed. What's the definition of intelligence? Scientifically?
Scientifically, well, to apply reason and logic.
That any person can do.
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah, we can do that.
Isn't that the basis of Muhammad though? Because Muhammad was not very clever and then the superior being informed him. Isn't that exactly the same thing that you're arguing against?
No.
No, we're not.
I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it.
That's clearly what
Yeah,
it is.
I'll come back to it.
Have you established what intelligence is?
No, I'm asking you. You used it.
No, can you use intelligence or not?
I can tell you one thing. Yes.
As a Muslim,
I can tell you as a Muslim the criteria.
How did you establish that God, your creator, is much more intelligent than you?
Here it is. Yes, I'll tell you. It's very simple.
Sure.
Okay. The creator has authority over everything.
How? And who gave
Now, there you go. You see, I told you haven't even read the 80%. But since you are asking me, I will tell you. Okay?
I know this stuff that you're telling me. I'm just telling you, how do you know that? What did you use?
Logic.
How is that logic?
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how. Superior, inferior.
How did you level that?
One second. Very easily. Yes.
You worked on it. You're on
I will. Very easy. I will tell you how. Okay. If this person comes to me and says,
question, and you're down
and he says, I have got a book in which there is no error. Yeah. I look at what he says, and the book itself contains hundreds of subject matter, which as a human being, in one lifetime, you cannot draw on that subject matter to the extent that it is. I would suggest, rather I would submit to you, that whoever has written that, definitely is superior to me. Number one, if I can finish. Why I say this? Because I know if I ask you just now, or somebody asks me, tell me exactly in totality everything about astrophysics. Is there any human being who can do that?
No,
there isn't. Because we learn in the process. Exactly. Now, I would look at that, and again, like I said, I'm a reasonable person, and I would take up a challenge and study, assess, investigate before I start throwing willy-nilly 80%, 20%. I'm referring to you. Yes? So I would do that. Now, if I know, but I would do that. Then I would take it a bit further. I am speaking. I would take it further. I would look at what this book says, study it rather than soundbite the information. I would study it and I would look at what it says in totality, not one verse or one paragraph. I wouldn't do that. I would do all that and then I would measure it.
Look,
if I can just finish, I'm on the last two sentences. Chris, you asked me now, I've answered it and you have difficulty with it.
Too far. I don't know why you're wasting your breath for no reason. You're saying here a book is perfect, yeah? From A to Z. To falsify that, I just need to find one mistake. I don't need to read the whole book. You've claimed it in totality that it's complete and it's intelligent. There shouldn't be any error. As soon as I find one error, it's over. Your claim is gone. Completely gone. So I don't know what you're talking about here, about you having to study in totality.
I agree, but you see what I just said.
You're my 80% what you're talking about here doesn't even...
Chris, you're not going back to that to try and justify it again, are you?
I just need to study 1% of it. And if I'm in that 1%,
1% of what?
one error, your whole book collapses.
Okay, what is 1% of the total Quran?
I don't know.
We're going to find out and come back.
I'm just giving you an example.
Well, make it a realistic one.
What do you mean make it realistic?
I thought so.
We just go to one verse that claims about reality, we test it and we see, is it reliable? If we find it's false, then we know the Quran is unreliable.
Is this the testing you are talking about? Is this the testing you are talking about, which is based on the scientific? Once again, let me finish. On the scientific method, which actually states itself that all scientific truth is subject to change based on further information being found. Now, I tell you what's wrong with that. It means that it is never ending.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, well, one second. Well,
with that. Why are you uncomfortable with that?
I'm not uncomfortable.
You are. Saying it's never end.
You are getting emotional, sir.
I'm fine
Chris,
with the world.
I'll tell you what.
Going on
Oh,
forever.
excellent.
I'm fine
So,
with that.
if that fact is subject to change,
Yeah.
how are you going to measure the truth of the Quran against that?
What do you mean?
I knew you would ask me that.
It's a method.
Because you are confused.
It's a method.
The method establishes what for you?
If it's true or not.
Is that truth absolute?
It is not. It's the best answer at the moment. That's how life is.
I'm still telling you, take up my challenge, Chris. You are afraid.
For example, yeah, the laws of gravity can change as long as there's another data to contradict that. But as long as it doesn't be contradicted, we can continue living with the fact that lower gravity is...
I agree. But you are admitting that it can be subject to change.
What can change? The laws of gravity?
No. Any scientific truth.
No, the method doesn't change. The method is what you use.
I'm not talking about the method. I'm talking
what's the problem then?
Listen to what I don't think you even know what the scientific method is, respectively.
I do know it, because I apply it every day at work.
No, you don't. You are a robot. You just do what you are told. But anyway, I know it doesn't.
I'm actually a consultant, by the way. I have my own living.
Chris, because you are a consultant, it doesn't mean you are right.
Doesn't matter.
Then why are you using it?
It's consistent.
It is consistent, but listen to me again, and I'll be slow.
Why are you so difficult?
I'm not even talking, Chris. I'm not even talking about the scientific method. Listen to me carefully, and we'll end here.
Yeah.
All scientific truth is subject to change based on new information being found. Now, I am not talking about the method.
It can probably never be found.
Listen to me.
It can probably never be found.
So how are you going to measure any truth against it?
The one that you have now, the current answer at the moment, you live with that.
So it is on inference.
What do you mean? Yes, it's on inference. So what's wrong with that?
Thank you for agreeing with me after nearly 45 minutes.
What do you mean after 45 minutes? You've just gone in circles everywhere.
I know, Chris.
Right center. You didn't have no direction.
Sometimes when you get into a bit of a muddle, it takes time to unravel.
There's no discussion about your existence of this creator, yeah?
No.
You claim here that there's a creator.
I'm not claiming.
So what are you doing?
I am telling you that for you to establish the truth of this assertion about a creator, I'm saying don't do an 80% shift. Do a 100. 1 second. Do a 100% shift because, according to the.
Unless you say.
You see, Chris, you're afraid. You don't want me to finish.
Relax. Unless you tell me this book, is not perfect. Unless you tell me this book, has some sort of areas where it could be correct and cannot be correct, then I can examine all of it. Do you understand? But
I understand.
Telling me
I understand.
the whole book is perfect. I don't need to go through the whole book. I can just pick one verse and examine that.
I understand, but now I can. I appreciate. No, you see, I appreciate the illogicality. Or if I can finish, I appreciate now the illogicality of the atheistic mindset. You see, you've got something certain, you've got something speculative. You are entirely reliant. Can I finish?
You are claiming it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah?
I am not claiming. I am not.
So it's not perfect.
If you listen to me.
Is the Quran perfect?
Here we go again.
Yes or no?
Can I respond the way I want to respond, or do you want?
Oh no, please.
Neither.
Yes. Why not?
There you are. Now you let me answer the way I want to. Chris, God bless. God bless. There isn't. God bless.
You're here telling me.
God bless. Anything untoward, Chris, please do forgive me. That was not the intention.
Don't worry, man. That doesn't bother me.
Great. God bless. Look after yourself.
So you guys here to ask you something.
Which brother?
This one. The tall one. The tall
The tall handsome one.
No, you're mistaken.
Carry on, brother. Yeah, you can talk to him. Sorry, brother. Did you want to ask me something?
No.
Oh, that's all right then.
You're the first person to say that the Qur'an isn't perfect, which is quite refreshing.
So you even have got confused. That's good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
And
matter.
then once you turn around and then you implied that it's not perfect and not imperfect.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, you too.
Turn around and say the Qur'an
That's the weak
isn't
point. That's the
perfect.
weak point. You see, he can't
It's
even
what
say
you've
one thing.
implied.
Yeah, he can't even tell me.
I'm so glad you have corrected yourself by saying I implied it. Now, if I made a...
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, you said it, so I'm assuming.
If I made a... Okay,
His
repeat...
question to you was, is the Qur'an perfect or imperfect? Yes or
Excellent.
no? Is the Qur'an
I
perfect or imperfect?
said neither.
Right, so, which one is
What does neither mean?
So you're not even
it? Could
certain
be
on
one or the other.
Don't get confused yet.
Yeah,
What does neither mean?
Okay, so you're not.
What does
one
neither
or the
mean?
other.
Well, if you listen to me carefully, and the problem here is selective hearing. You see, I said to him, look, can I answer it the way I want to answer it?
Okay.
Say yes or no.
Oh,
Say yes.
okay.
So I
So it's
said,
neither.
if I can just finish.
So go on.
I said it is neither, then he said how? I said now you are going to have to allow me to speak the way I wanted.
Okay,
Yes?
let's continue with neither.
I'll tell you.
Okay, neither.
I tell you. Yes? No, I'm not going to continue with neither. That was for him.
Oh, come
That was
on.
for him.
Give him a chance,
Yes?
because then obviously it just makes
No, not at all. Like I said, you see, you guys, or him in particular, but I'll ask you also, are you reliant on evidence to assess and establish a fact?
In the current knowledge that we have, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that we're open for it to change, and
Yes.
we're constantly learning.
Exactly.
What we're
I
not
like
doing,
that.
hang on, what we're not going to do is rely on something that was written 1,500 years ago that applied to people who lived in a desert 1,500 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you want to go and live that way and live in the mindset, so it's me like turning around and saying to you, to cure cancer, have oranges every day of your life.
Yeah.
And then in your Quran or Bible, it turns around and says, do you know what, cure cancer, have oranges. Some other guy turns around and says, tell you what, you've got cancer, don't listen to that. This would, I tell you what, 5 years later, he's dead already, because he died of cancer, or vitamin C poisoning, and then you're still living and you're going, do you know what, I ain't got no cancer. So if you want to rely on the facts and the data that was given to you 1,500 years ago, then that's fine. But then, as this gentleman turned around and said, all you've got to do, you don't have to turn around, and it's a very easy argument to turn around and say, have you read all of it? Do you understand all of it? No, just like this gentleman, you just got to read 3 or 4 passages and go, dude, really?
Yeah.
Come on, seriously? That's where you turn around. You get a science book and you turn around and then halfway through you go, if it's a mathematical equation or evidence all the way through, you just turn around and you're saying it's perfect and you just turn around and go, there you go, it ain't perfect. One of the things I learned recently, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Embryology in your Quran. Aristotle done it. Aristotle done it, what was it, however many years beforehand. So it's just second-hand information all the way through. That's all it is. You know, you just got to look at the development of animals, the book that he wrote, I think it's called A Development of Animals or something like that. Aristotle done it. And in fact, more details rather than the 3 lines in the Quran. So, you know, that's one perfect example. So that's why people find it very, very difficult in this day and age through evidence. Okay, and the great thing about, and the thing is, being an atheist is being someone who is constantly looking for. But we've obviously set aside the supernatural. Is what we've done. That's all we've done. All we've done is just set aside the supernatural. And then we're not turning around and saying or hating on people. But then I look at people, and a person like yourself, suited, very intelligent, very eloquent, and I look at you and go, and no disrespect to anyone, but if you are disrespected, not that bothered. But how stupid can you be? So to believe what you believe in. That's what all atheists stand there in shock and awe. 99% of the day, we turn around and go, I'm going to have a cup of tea, going to read the paper, going to go to work, say hello to my mum, say hello to my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And then we stand there and go, a 1%, 2 minutes of the day and go, really? You believe that? Because I don't think about it all day, every day, but I do turn around and go, really? Seriously, you've read the book? And at no point, so in terms of being selective, the great thing about being an atheist, I'm assuming you are an atheist, of course, so this gentleman being an atheist, the great thing about us, we're open. We can accept change, and we're happy to accept change. It's like what's going to happen tomorrow with NASA. They're going to announce something on Mars. Fantastic. We're learning all the time. Whereas you try and change something in your Quran, you're not allowed to.
Okay.
So you've now got to stick within your box.
Yes.
1,500 years old, that applied to people's knowledge then. We have now moved and evolved and adapted, some for the good, some for the worse. You know, we still got drugs, still got gambling, still got lying, still got cheating, still got wars, still got all this going on. But that's a human trait. Okay? That's all it is. But there is a lot of great things going on. How many people are starving in the world? Surprise, surprise, and depending on who you believe in, there's actually 30% less people. World Health Organization and the UN all turn around and say, actually, various places people are getting better. There's a difference between rich and poor. But things evolve, things change, and there are some great things. So to turn around and go, oh, you know, things like adultery and homosexuality, what does anybody bloody care? I tell you what, your sister, I will now turn around and say, don't take your respect, or a fictitious person's sister commits adultery, okay, has a really bad time. I want to see you, I want to see that rock in your hand, and I want to see you stone a friend of your sister. Then I would turn around and go, do you know what? That man really believes his stuff. If you ain't going to do that, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what you're doing. Okay. So that's all I've got to say.
Look, you have just given me the usual atheistic spiel, respectfully.
Why do you always say the usual?
I was quiet. I was quiet here. I never interjected. The moment I spoke, the usual atheistic mentality interject. Let me go.
Thanks for stereotyping me.
You are entitled to that. Okay? But the usual atheistic spiel. You know what? No problem, you're entitled to that opinion. But it does actually confirm my suggestion that the level of ignorance amongst atheists is on the increase. Now, respectfully, I'm saying this, okay? You see,
we're learning all the time and getting more ignorant.
I was allowing I kept quietly, twice you guys have interjected. It shows you are coming from an emotional angle here.
No, that's fine.
Now, you see, and respectfully, brother, what is your name?
You're a human being and you're just like...
Joe,
I'm Shabir.
Hello,
you see, Joe talked about a few elements within Islam.
a reasonable, quite important ones, but go on.
And actually true.
You are entitled to what you subjectively think is important, but let me finish, if I can finish. Yes, you talked about a few things.
It's not subjective, it's not, it's fact.
I am not surprised, Joe. I am not surprised.
No, I apologize. I won't say anything more.
You see, a few things have been confused. Yes, he talked about homosexuality, he talked about adultery, he talked about Aristotle, he talked about how it, and you added rehash. I'm listening to you.